Hey there everyone, and welcome back to your weekly crypto market update. My name is Brendan from the Crypto 101 team, and I hope all of you are buckled up because it is about to be a massive week in the crypto markets. Now on the TradFi side, we have Jerome Powell coming out and talking about whether he wants the Federal Reserve to cut or hold interest rates. And on the cryptocurrency side, we have hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into these Bitcoin treasury companies, while billions of dollars flow into the Bitcoin ETFs. Now, on top of this, everyone wants their hands on Bitcoin at this point, and it is possible that we see dozens of altcoin ETFs approved for nearly half a dozen different altcoins. Here you can see that we have things like indexes, Litecoin, Solana, XRP, Dogecoin, Cardano, and so much more, and we're going to be breaking it all down in today's video. Now, let's go ahead and kick things off with the charts, because the crypto market has been ridiculously volatile here in recent weeks. I mean, we've gone from new all-time highs on Bitcoin to falling back down to 100K, back up towards the all-time highs, now back down, and we're getting a little bit of whiplash here, while altcoins are actually doing quite well. I don't know if everyone's been watching, but altcoins have been going berserk. I know Aerodrome has been on a tear here recently from just below 40 cents back above almost 90 cents. We've seen Hyperliquid hitting new all-time highs. We've seen Fartcoin doing really well. We've seen Maker just tearing up to new local highs. Syrup has been another huge player. And so the altcoin market, while not every altcoin is doing well, there's a lot of them out there that are just doing fantastic, as Bitcoin dominance even remains pretty high, which is where we're sitting right now. So yeah, we are seeing a lot of volatility, but there's a whole handful of altcoins, a whole bag of them, that are really doing quite well and performing quite strong, regardless of whatever's happening in the market here. So what I'm looking at over here on Bitcoin is we are seeing a squeeze. We need to keep an eye on this 50-day moving average. It's this pinkish line that I have on my chart, and price action is right above here. So we need to keep a close eye on that 50-day moving average. However, if we see any kind of deeper correction, we have a lot of support down at around 95 to 96K, because that is where the volume point of control is. So if we zoom out on this consolidation range, you can see that there is a big volume point of control, it'll take a second to load, right around that mid 90K area. So if people are kind of looking at this saying, hey, maybe we need to revisit that, maybe we don't, there seems to be quite the split opinion on it. But regardless, if there is a breakdown, there is massive support levels below this, and I think a lot of people would be jumping at the opportunity to accumulate at such a significant level where both the volume point of control is and the 200-day moving average is. Now, over beyond kind of just what's happening on the charts, we have been seeing a ridiculous amount of flows coming into Bitcoin, and it feels like everyone and their brother wants to have some form of a Bitcoin treasury these days. It started off with MicroStrategy, and then we've started to see federal level governments, state level governments, companies kind of bandwagoning onto this idea. And that whole theme has just not stopped. It has not let up at all. So Fold just secured $250 million in order to, you guessed it, acquire more Bitcoin and to expand their Bitcoin treasury. Now, at the same time that all these other players, in fact, I don't even have it pulled up here, but Michael Saylor was just saying, hey, I'm adding more dots, I'm buying more Bitcoin, is what that means. He's buying more Bitcoin, adding it to their treasury. I'd assume that MetaPlanet and all these other guys are doing the same thing. I just saw GameStop was doing similar stuff lately, and SharpLink was doing similar stuff with Ethereum. But at the same time that all that's happening with these Bitcoin and crypto treasuries, the Bitcoin ETFs log $1.8 billion in over a 6-day inflow streak. Because think about that. In 6 days of inflows, there is almost $2 billion coming in to the Bitcoin ETFs in inflows, which is just a crazy amount. And we've seen this trending up and up and up, and you can see how strong it's been fairly lately over here, with IBIT being one of the main contributors to this. I also saw that the Bitcoin ETFs have surpassed their $1 trillion milestone, and I'm glad that they have included this. But what this now means is that the Bitcoin ETFs are some of the most, not even some, they are the most successful ETFs in history. and they are just destroying whatever people could try to call a competitor at this point. Now, when I say everyone wants to get their hands on Bitcoin, love them, hate them, doesn't matter. We don't take political sides in this show. But even the Trump-backed Truth Social, they're saying, we want in on this. And so they're filing for both a Bitcoin and an Ethereum ETF. This is a dual Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF, excuse me. And they want to get their hands on this. They want to get into this. So regardless of what you think, doesn't matter if you're left, right, up, down, sideways, we couldn't care less. But everyone wants their hand on crypto here, and I think that's the big takeaway. Now, beyond this, there are a whole handful of altcoins that are looking like they can get some ETF approvals. The biggest one here is Solana. So there's two different graphics that I want to show everyone. Number one, this is coming from Solana Floor on Twitter. They're saying, hey, the odds of a Solana ETF approval by July 31st have surged from 63% to 76% in the past 24 hours. Now, I would assume that this happens in light of two things. Number one, all of a sudden we've seen all these ETF providers updating their applications for Solana. So they've been submitting their S1s, amending things, resubmitting them. We've just seen a lot of activity happening around the Solana ETFs, especially. On top of this, the lead Bloomberg intelligence analyst for the ETF markets, Eric Balchunas and James Safar, who report on this in a fantastic manner. We've had them on the podcast. They're friends of the pod over at Crypto 101. They've been reporting on this, and they actually just submitted a new graphic saying, hey, here's all of the crypto ETFs. Here are the people who have applied for them. And there is also the odds of them getting approved this year in 2025. Now, I know that we talked about this over on the Crypto 101 side. If you watch the crypto rundown that happens every single Wednesday morning, then you're going to be familiar with this chart. But I think it is especially important at a time like this, where we can look in this and we can see, hey, there are basket ETFs and index ETFs. This means that there is a collection of cryptocurrencies inside of this, whether it is Bitcoin and Ethereum or, maybe Bitcoin, Ethereum, and like 10 different altcoins. It can vary from ETF to ETF, but there's 4 different versions of that, and they have a 90% chance of getting approved by the end of this year. Litecoin and Solana also have a 90% chance of getting approved by the end of this year. It's a pretty big deal, and it looks like Solana is the front runner, and they even talk about it here in this post, saying Solana looks like it is the most likely, and it's leading the charge here. Beyond that, we have XRP at 85%, Dogecoin at 80%, Cardano and Polkadot at 75%, which kind of shocked me, alongside Avalanche. You have HBAR at 80%, and then you have Sui at 60%, and Tron, which doesn't have a percent attached to it. Now, I will say, when it comes to, regardless of the odds, there is the most interest in the basket and indexes, and alongside that, Solana and XRP. So when you look at this, there are so many Solana and XRP ETF applications. No one even comes close in second. It's like Solana and XRP have the most filings. That seems to be where there is the most attention, and people are looking at this, and clearly, people want this. So I'd say keep an eye on the altcoin market, because if all of a sudden we start getting a ton of different ETF approvals for altcoins, keep your eyes out. That is the kind of thing that can spur an altcoin season like we might have never seen before. And so I'd pay close attention to what's happening here in the crypto market, regardless of what happens to price. Listen, we know the crypto market's volatile. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. We're going to have volatile moves. It happens. It's just part of the industry, and most of us are pretty used to it by now. However, what is not going to change is the fundamental news that we're talking about here today. So price is always going to vary, but the kind of adoption and stuff that we're talking about here in today's episode, that's not going anywhere. In fact, it just grows every single week, which is why we have so much to talk about in every single market update and in every single crypto rundown episode over on the Crypto 101 YouTube channel. So we hope all of you enjoyed this video. Of course, there is a lot to talk about, and we love making them. So if you did, hit the like and hit the subscribe button, and thank you for watching. Now, if you are new here and you want to get plugged in to a great crypto community, we have all sorts of links in the description down below where you can get plugged in directly with us at Crypt Nation. And we're actually running a promo where you can get access to our entire portfolio for just $1. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and go to the link down below this video. Check that out there, and we're looking forward to seeing you very, very soon.